2020 may just go down as the most stressful, overwhelming year in the history of the world. And that's on top of all of our natural stress that we deal with in our lives. But maybe stress isn't as bad as we feel it is. Actually, I think that stress is probably the most useful tool that we have as humans. I'm going to show you how to utilize your tool in your life in this simple 4-step process. Let's get into it. The human brain was developed over 40,000 years ago, in times where, we shared the same forests as giant wolves and saber-toothed tigers. So we were put in incredibly dangerous, life-threatening situations on a daily basis. And we had to use this stress to kind of figure out how to survive. So we learned how to build fires in smaller fires so that we wouldn't be seen by animals, live in caves, and not leave our food outside overnight because, the animals would smell it. These ideas came from massively stressed out cavemen that were worried about getting eaten. But without that stress that, kind of flooded their lives, they would never have been able to know what actions to take in order to survive, and therefore they lived another day, right? I like to think about the human mind as a computer. When we get flooded with this overwhelm and stress, it's kind of like our computer popping up an error message telling you that something needs to change in your system so that it can run more smoothly. The only thing is most of us just frantically click out of the thing because it scared us and we start freaking out and kind of just shut down, go on our phones as a little pacifier to, really just ignore the problem because it sucks. It doesn't feel good, right? Stress is a bad feeling for most people and nobody wants to feel it. So we just ignore it, but then the problem persists. And the more that you push the stress down and try to get it out of you without actually addressing it, the bigger, the harder that this emotion is going to knock on your door, and sooner than later your computer system is just going to explode and you're going to end up punching a hole in your wall. Right? I've been there as well. So we need to actually understand how to assess, address, and deal with this problem. So first and foremost, step 1 is understand the pattern, right? We all have these patterns that play out every time we get into the state of stressed, right? The stress and overwhelm is an actual state. It's what creates the feeling. And they're patterns of focus, physiology, and language. So I want you to kind of, if you're stressed right now and that's why you're watching this, I want you to kind of understand your body language, how you're using your body, what it looks like, how it kind of feels, how you're breathing. And if you're not stressed out right now, kind of think back to how you use your body in states like this. Are you, upright, breathing deeply with your shoulders back and looking powerful and confident in a resourceful state? Or are you kind of like shrunk and small and like breathing shallow and looking down and like biting your nails? That's what I usually do. And it's because that is the pattern of stress and anxiety. That's what puts you in that state, is this physiology. Some researchers over at UC Berkeley ran an experiment. They took a bunch of clinically depressed people, which means you're not just, sad depressed, you are actually reaching high levels of depression. They took a bunch of these people and they brought them to one place for 20 days. And every day they had them stand in front of a 3-piece mirror. It means like, the mirrors you find in a tux shop where there's 2 and then 1, and then you kind of stand up and they surround you. You can see your whole self, right? So they took every single one of these 20 people, every single one of these people, bunch of people for 20 days, they had them stand in front of this mirror with smiling as big as they possibly could from ear to ear like this. And then they had them get in powerful positions with their shoulders back, breathing deeply, and smiling as big as they possibly could at themselves in this mirror for 20 minutes straight. What do you think the results are? They're astonishing. It's crazy. Not one single person out of this group was able to stay depressed for the entirety of the 20 days. And not even this one chick who said that she was depressed in her sleep. That's next level. The best part is that after this experiment was done, the majority of these people were able to cut antidepressants out of their lives forever. All drugs just cut because they learned techniques on how to solve the problem. Right? So how cool is that? Do you think that would work for stress management? You bet your sweet ass it would. So all you have to do is just change the way that you're using your body. If you kind of can be aware enough in the moment and realize that you're stressed out, you're using your body bad, fix it, and you'll see how fast this change can really be. The state you're in is really the most critical factor in how you evaluate and make decisions. If you are kind of in the reactful state, then you're going to make irrational reactions, right? But if you're in a resourceful, powerful state, you're going to make logical decisions and be able to assess the situation a lot more intelligently. Which sort of leads me to my next step, and that's diagnosing the message. What is your brain trying to tell you? Is there something that you've been working on that you're worried about? Maybe a specific event that's coming up that you're worried about? Maybe the judgment of those around you? Or are you scared that something bad is going to happen to you? The thing about fear is it's usually a signal that your brain is trying to send you that you need to prepare for something. Whether it's something that you were expecting that you need to prepare for, maybe a test or an interview or something, or it could be trying to get you to prepare to cope with an uncertain event that it's kind of predicting that it's going to happen, that something bad is going to happen that's unknown. So your brain is trying to kind of tell you to strengthen your mind because you're about to deal with some stuff, Feeling overwhelmed may be your brain trying to tell you to get organized, get your life together, dude. It's trying to tell you there's too much stuff in your mind. You have too many things to do. I'm overwhelmed with the information that's in here, so you need to write it down. Because I can't store it all and refer back to it because there's too much stuff. So you need to organize your life, dude. Step number 3, which is my favorite, and that is asking the right questions. The questions that you ask yourself massively affect the way that you evaluate and make decisions. Now, how many different questions can you ask yourself? Infinity amount of questions. But do you ask yourself an infinite amount of diverse questions every time you feel like this? No, you don't. It's recorded that the average human being thinks about 65,000 thoughts every single day. The only thing is that the next day, you think about 95% of those same 65,000 thoughts that you had the day before. That is because humans are creatures of habits, and we use patterns to make decisions more easily, and so we can make decisions quicker, right? Because we use these same systems that we've learned to diagnose and address the situation the same every single time. When you begin to become more aware and present in the moment of these situations, you'll start to understand that you habitually ask the same questions and they shape you. But each one of us have what I call a primary question, and that's the question that really controls your life. The sad thing is the majority of the people on this earth don't know they have a primary question, and definitely don't know what that primary question is, at least consciously. For some people, that primary question is, how do I get people to love me? Well, what is the presupposition to that question? It's that people don't love you. So they're going to constantly be searching and trying to please everybody and trying to get love from everybody, and always be disappointed because they really can't. So you see them out here trying so hard for everybody's love. You know that personality? I bet you do. Or maybe someone's primary question is, what's wrong with me? And you ask crappy questions, you're going to get crappy answers. The answer to that question is not going to make you feel good, because it's not. That is not a good question to ask. So you ask crappy questions, you get crappy answers, and no matter what this person does, no matter how much success they achieve, no matter how great their relationship is, they're always going to be asking themselves, what's wrong with me? So they're never going to feel the joy that comes with the success or anything in their life. They're always just going to be brought back to that state of, what's wrong with me? And you ask this supercomputer of a brain that we have these questions, and even if there's not a truthful answer for you, it will pull some type of reference from your brain to give you some type of answer, even if it's not actually true. And we ask the same questions again and again, and focus on the same things, and then end up feeling the same ways, therefore reacting to the same things and in the same ways. And then it just becomes this giant loop of reaction, and then the people around us react to the way that we are reacting, and then it just turns into a giant tornado of negativity, right? And that's why you got to be super careful with what questions you are asking yourself. When you change the questions you ask, you change what you focus on. When you change those questions consistently, you end up changing the systemic way that you experience your life. When you're stressed out or overwhelmed, you've got to ask yourself the questions that are going to empower you, that are going to give you good answers. Like, what can I learn from this? What's great about this? And your brain goes, nothing! But if something had to be great, if I really wanted something to be great about this, what would it be? Right? What's funny about this? How can I laugh about this? Everybody always says, we'll look back and laugh on this later. Why not do it now? What kind of jokes can you make about the situation that you're in right now? Is this even going to matter in 5 years? Probably not. Probably not at all. The thing is our brains blow these situations way out of proportion because it's used to fighting saber-toothed tigers. But nowadays we don't have that. We have social media and the fear of judgment, but it blows these situations that aren't life-threatening and turn them into life and death situations, because that's what the brain does. It survives and it turns things into situations like that. Now, after asking your questions, you may have been able to create a solution internally within yourself. The problem may have been something that you can fix from the inside. So there you go, you solved it. But if it is something external and you have to take some sort of action, now is a time to get it out of your head and actually grab a piece of paper and write out a guide, a manual, an action plan, a map for yourself, so that you can address, assess, and fix this problem and have a step-by-step guide on how to do it, so that you will actually take the action. Because the more that the stuff is just up here, the more you're going to get overwhelmed. That may even be the reason that you were overwhelmed in the first place, is because you have too much stuff in your freaking brain. So get it out of your brain, put it on a piece of paper, make a list, and make a guide to yourself so that you can actually address the situation in the most effective way. So in summary, you get stressed out. You start to go into that state, right? Into that little nervous state, right? Change it. Change your physiology. Be powerful, be confident. Shift it, Breathe deeply, deep breaths into your chest, shoulders back. Change your physiology. Second, diagnose what the message means. What is your brain trying to tell you? This is a signal. These are action signals. It's trying to help you. But you can't just panic and shut it down. You have to address it. You have to assess this error message so that you can use it to your advantage, right? Now, step 3 is ask the right questions. There's all kinds of bad questions, and we normally ask them on a regular basis. That's why we continue to feel bad. Or what you focus on is what you feel. So these questions are going to make us feel certain ways. Now, if you're feeling bad with anxiety and stress, this is the reason that you feel like that. It's because you're focused on the bad stuff. So we need to create empowering alternative questions that we can ask ourselves that are going to give us good answers that are really going to solve the problem. And once we have those good answers, then we're going to make an action plan, a guide to us, so that we can actually fix the problem at hand. Now, if you liked that, go ahead and subscribe for more content like this. I like making content like this. It's really interesting, and I feel like I can help a lot of people with their kind of stuff. Go ahead and ring that bell if you want to get notified, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Again, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. And until then, keep those intentions strong. Bye.